Welcome to a grand conversation with Grandpa Diesel and Grandson Raphael, tackling current topics from a grandpa's point of view and from a grandson's point of view. Welcome. Hello, I'm Grandpa Diesel, and with me is grandson
Raphael.
Hi, Raph. How you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
So, this is our first podcast, and just to get a little perspective so you could understand where we're coming from as far as generations, I was born in 1956, and that makes me 68 years old.
I was born in 2009, and I am 16.
16. Ooh. Okay, so, Raph, I was thinking of this. So, I'm 68, you're 16, right?
Yep.
Okay, so if you reverse 16, you get 61, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's 6 plus 1?
7.
Yep, and you add 7 to 61, and what do you get?
68.
Yeah, 68. Isn't
Ooh.
that crazy, Raph?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, anyway. So we welcome you to our first podcast, and we're going to be talking about current events, different topics that come along. We may have some guests. But just happy that you're here to join us on our initial endeavor. And so I got a knock-knock joke to start out with. Knock-knock.
Who's there?
A.
A who?
AI.
Oh,
yeah,
shoot.
AI. That's our topic today. It's coming, Raph. It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing we discovered, and you could kind of imagine that someone born in 2009 and someone born in 1956 might have different opinions about a lot of things, but we discovered that we kind of have the same opinion on AI. And so we thought, well, it's a really relevant topic. It's coming fast. It's already here, but I mean, it's speeding to some end, which we'll discuss later. But so what are your thoughts in general on AI, Raph?
So I think that AI has certain use cases that can be useful in, for instance, like the medical field. But I think for the civilian population, the general population, it is, for the most part, a negative.
Ooh, okay, negative. So kind of my little journey with AI is maybe about 6 months ago or so. I was kind of 50-50. Oh, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good thing in a lot of ways, but there could be some negatives. Now I'm kind of leaning towards more maybe like 90 negative, 10% benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And I like your idea about, that kind of it's like a narrow application. There are some really great benefits of AI, but I'm kind of looking at the general pitfalls of AI or the specific pitfalls of AI. And so we're going to talk mostly keying on what we think are some of the pitfalls of AI. So one thing we were talking about was if everyone has their own kind of personal AI, what's that going to mean? So what are your thoughts on that and how people are going to react to that?
So with the personal AI, so for instance, we've already seen this with a couple people forming very parasocial sort of negative relationships with their AI. For instance, there was this one guy who pretty much he fell in love with his own AI even though he was already married. And this shows that people can form these attachments to the AI. And as well as this, the AI also sort of changes itself to fit with what you have fed into it. So it will give you results that fit more with your worldview, and it's picked up what you kind of liked, which sort of forms this echo chamber of sorts.
Right. I like that word echo chamber, really do. So that's kind of one of, just let's exclude AI for a minute with social media, news, and even our friends. We tend to want to live in an echo chamber. Social media that kind of agrees with us, news that agrees with us, or friends that agree with us. And so one thing with AI, now you're going to have your own personal kind of friend or assistant, or people could do that, in which they're going to always be complimented. I think you had mentioned that, complimented. They're going to be always thought of in a positive way. And I was thinking of this. There's there's not going to be any possibility of people disagreeing with you because AI could always agree with you. Any thoughts on that? Or
Yeah, exactly. With social media, well, you can fall into echo chambers of different kinds. At least there, you're going to run into pushback somewhere. Whereas with AI, it's just you and this AI who is sort of a reflection of you, which is far more dangerous than having these multiple other opinions that you could run into on social media. Just this one that will tell you basically what you want to hear.
Right. And we are talking about also, a person who is using AI as more of a personal friend, that personal friend is going to just present you with material that you are in favor of. Again, that echo chamber, but even could be headlines with the news, or could be music and things like that is going to try to match what your opinion is leaning towards anyway. So again, that echo chamber. So we talked about that. And initially too, we talked about arts and entertainment. So share with me some of your thoughts on AI and arts and entertainment.
So AI art, I was similar to you where I wasn't fully sure about regular AI, but I say with AI art, I've mostly been against it the whole time for a few reasons. One of the things I like so much about art is that it has humanity behind it. It's almost a window into someone's thought processes, into their emotions, it's their self-expression, right? You can learn so much about a person through their art, but with AI, it sort of lacks the soul that the person doing it would have. And for instance, I think that that AI art, even if it looks like a very good picture, which AI art has its flaws in terms of how it actually looks, but even if it looks very good, I think that a human drawing that looks terrible has more value than the AI art, because the human is putting their soul into it, putting their heart into it, and they are actually gaining experience from that as well. They're learning a new skill, and they're expressing themselves. So I think that was a major reason that regular art is valuable and AI art is not.
Oh, that is such a great point with the art, because I don't think so much of art, but when you look at art, it is a person expressing their maybe beliefs or feelings or thoughts, and they're kind of pouring themselves out in their paintings or in their art. I'm no art connoisseur. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct term.
Oh, thank you very much. But I think now maybe some person who's really is an artist can tell the difference. But I probably couldn't. Right now. I don't know. Have you ever seen any comparisons at all? Or
I remember. This has been a while back, so AI art has improved, but back a while ago, you could tell through like the lighting, even with things like the fingers, there'd be like 7 fingers or something.
Oh yeah,
but
that's funny.
The lighting was also off. Like you'd have lighting coming from different random directions and stuff. I don't know how much it's improved, but definitely with some of it, you can still tell that it's AI. Some of it is way more convincing, but still there's telltale signs that it is AI as well from a technical perspective.
Yeah. Like I said, I think unless like somebody like me that's not an artist at all, I may not be able to know the difference. You might be able to even, but like somebody back from the 50s, born in the 50s, might not be able to tell.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of also interested in the music aspect, how I did hear somebody play a song from AI, and then I think they played another song, and or it was just AI, but you could not tell it was from AI. And so to me, the art, but also music, it's just like I could see where it's coming to a time when, people prefer what AI's dishing out. And again, it's almost like that echo chamber, AI producing songs and words and genres that just totally appeal to them personally, maybe on a personal level.
Yeah.
And so again, you're not getting that artist who's putting, pouring out his life into a song, you're getting AI to interpret that. So
Exactly.
yeah, how do you think about music too, as far as your generation? What music you like to listen to, by the way, Raph?
Oh, I like a lot of different types of music.
Well,
That
that's
could be a
good.
whole podcast in itself.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, we
honestly.
don't go there. So all kind of different genres and everything.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that could be another yeah. Okay, so we talked about too. You talked a little bit about government surveillance. How were you thinking along that lines and AI?
So for instance, I use this sort of comparison. YouTube is instituting a new thing where they are having an AI detect your viewing preferences, and if they suspect, doesn't matter what age you put into YouTube, you could say I'm 18, I'm 24, whatever. If they suspect, based on the content you watch, that their AI is scanned, that you're under 18, they will limit the content to things that are only available for viewers under 18 or above 8 or yeah under 18. So this can be extrapolated to the government, where with the YouTube thing it's more benign, right? But they are still surveying your habits, your viewing habits and whatnot. With the government, imagine a government who has, for instance, like a surveillance state, right? Like cameras on every corner, and then they detect where you're going, what you're doing, and they use this to sort of detect, oh, this person is, I don't know, let's just say like they are anti-government or they're suspected of illegal activities or something. The surveillance state capabilities become far worse. We already have a bit of a surveillance state problem here in the U.S., but with the rise of AI, it's going to make it so much more easy for a government to do this sort of spying and sorting people into categories and all this stuff. And that personally, I think that scares me, because as of now, AI is not fully being utilized by governments, but they have the potential to use this, which can give them even more power and give the corporations who own the AI also very lucrative, powerful deals with the government. As well as this, AI has some. It also can be used in like militaries and stuff, which I think is also sort of a scary possibility. Just like the idea of the AIs being able to like target you as like an enemy combatant or something like that. Like,
Right. And so the more, in a sense, the more people use AI in all aspects of their lives, or in a majority aspects of their lives, then the more the government could mine that information and set up a profile for
yeah,
you.
and the AI as well could sort the data that they have on you,
Right.
easily putting you into different things. And as well as this, this is a bit different from the government topic, but things like advertising, I think, as well.
Yeah, you used the word, in fact, a phrase, I like it, subservient consumerism.
Yeah.
Subservient consumerism.
Yeah.
So did you hear that before? Or did you just coin
No,
that?
I coined that term, I guess.
Okay, everybody. Raphael coined that. So if anybody's using it, if it catches on, you heard it here first.
Yeah, so effectively with advertising, corporations, companies, whatever, and no, these are probably going to be the larger corporations as well, who have more ability to use better AI, pay for all that stuff. They're going to have the advantage here, and they're going to basically be able to advertise incredibly well to you. Like we already see things like TikTok is kind of renowned for its algorithm. This has been for a while, basically getting you on lock and exactly almost in this echo chamber, like we said before. With advertising, it's going to be it can analyze your every viewing preference, because AI, well, it has its flaws, is able to sort data very well, and it can basically find exactly what to show you, what to advertise to you, exactly when to advertise to you, right? So it's going to basically put you in this loop of always having a new product, always keeping you as this subservient consumerist, like I said, and it's going to be incredibly difficult to break away from this constant, almost like hit of getting the new product.
Right, and then it's all going to gear towards your preferences. So I was just thinking as you're talking that it has the potential of excluding, like say another avatar has a similar product, but AI is going to choose the product that AI thinks you should see based on, your past history and use of AI. And so it's going to kind of block out that other advertiser or person trying to get in on the market or trying to influence you. So that's going to be kind of interesting, I think, down the pike. Yep. So, I think as anything, I mean, this is massive. AI is a massive massive influx in our human history. So there have been other times in the world. I think the invention of the printing press, where people might say, "Oh no, we can't," have people reading mass-produced books that people read or certain books. But I was thinking too, it's kind of like back in my day more. I think it was maybe when the calculator came on the market. So I think there may have been this fear or thought that, oh my goodness, people aren't going to be able to do math calculations anymore. All they've got to do is plug in numbers and the calculator, and they won't be able to even do it on paper or longhand. And I think there's some truth to that. I think over the years, I do happen to like math. And by the way, Raph, how do you make 7 even?
No idea.
Oh, really?
I'm terrible on that.
Oh, okay. You just remove the S. Take out the S and you have EVEN, even. Anyway, so I think that has some truth to it and merits. I think I think maybe with the reliance on calculators that people have their skills have decreased in just being able to figure out math in their head or on paper because now we have calculators everywhere really easy. But the more when I think of AI, it's that calculator thing. It was a kind of a narrow application, math, where AI just influences so much, almost every aspect of our life at this point. Any thoughts on that? Or?
Yeah, it is an all-encompassing thing. It's in every facet of life, not just math, even things that should be done with other humans. It will influence that. It will become like almost a relationship. It will have almost a relationship with you. All this kind of stuff, and as well as like it is the opposite of a narrow application, right?
Right.
That's the main thing here, and even. That calculator thing, people have said to me like, oh, AI is just like the new form of the calculator, right? But you're not against calculators, so you shouldn't be against AI. But once again, it's more encompassing than the calculator, and the calculator is, I feel like, more of a tool than AI is. AI is with the calculator, you still have to know how to use the calculator, right? For one, whereas AI, it sort of does your thinking for you, but I'm sure we can get to that.
Yeah.
And then also, with the calculator, it is the more narrow application. And with AI, with the calculator, you could say, okay, well, maybe it's making people worse at math. Whether that or not that's true, that's debatable. But with the calculator, that's the only potential negative. With AI, there's so many other negatives which bring down AI and just make it not even worth it.
Yeah, well, so I was thinking too, as we're talking about the calculator, so if somebody has a calculator, that's not going to be their friend. It's not going to really decrease human contact. A calculator isn't going to, it might speed up some calculations where it might even, they could have more human contact because they didn't spend all this time on some math kind of thing or calculations. But where I think, and we didn't touch enough on it, I think, from the beginning of this, is that, the potential for, and not everyone, but some people, to even have less human contact than what we're seeing now with social media. Social media, you do have you have conversations at least and back and forth. But, with AI, you're having that conversation with just this AI assistant or whatever you call it. And so it really, the potential for a severe decrease in human contact is there, I think. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
We kind of touched on it, but I think that's one of the real big dangers.
Yeah, like I was saying, AI, like we've said earlier, the echo chamber, right? But
Right.
which will incentivize you to keep coming back to the AI if you're always getting this agreement, if you're always being soothed by the AI, getting this gratification from it. Whereas with your friends, they might push back to you a little bit, or
Right.
not always be the nicest to you or whatever, right? But the AI is like the perfect friend, perfect in quotes. It's like it's not really perfect, but it acts as like it assumes the role of the person who always agrees with you. It's almost like a sycophantic.
Right,
sort
right.
of
In my
adoration.
day, I don't know if they still do it. It's the yes man.
Yeah, the yes man, exactly,
I don't know if
exactly.
that's still a term out there, but it's like,
Yeah.
so you don't want somebody that's constantly agreeing with you or saying yes to everything, because you might have a bad idea, and if all they're saying is yes, 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 then that's not a good. That's not good for you either. So we talked about tell about the environment impact, which I hadn't
yeah.
even thought of. So fill me in a little bit on that.
Okay, so I've got some statistics
Okay.
here, or not much, but okay. So according to, I got this from, I think it was called like MIT News or something. You can look this up. The article is called "Explained: Generative AI's Environmental Impact." So scientists have estimated that the power requirements of data centers, which AI uses data centers, in North America increased from 2,688 megawatts at the end of 2022 to 5,341 at the end of 2023, partly driven by the demands of generative AI. Globally, the electricity consumption of data centers rose 460 terawatt hours in 2022. This would have made data centers around the 11th largest electricity consumer in the world. Now, by 2026, the electricity consumption of data centers is expected to approach 1,050 terawatt hours, which would bump data centers up to the 5th place on the global list.
Okay, so that's pretty technical, good, interesting information. But so in general, what is it saying that the CO2 produced?
It's going to require a lot more electricity,
Okay.
right? And that's
Okay.
just one facet. And for instance,
Okay.
if you go, this website is called libguides.ecu.edu is the URL. They have a little thing about AI and CO2 emissions.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, it's a little graph, which you obviously can't see if you're listening. But I encourage you to go look this up because it shows AI as training an AI model as far above air travel, human life, American life, which is higher than your average for the rest of the world, and car manufacturing on CO2 emission footprints. So it is way higher. It's like a bar graph. AI also has it's not just electricity, right? Because obviously it's going to cost a lot of electricity, which is going to use. It's also the things you need to use to create the data centers, right? The materials that you have to mine or whatever, and also water cooling, which takes the water away. There's
water resources are used to cool the data centers, right? Yeah, very good.
Very bad for the environment.
Yeah. So if you're concerned about environment, that's something. And I do, I want to keep the environment clean and everything. So that's something that wasn't on my radar. So that was really good information. We talked, and it's kind of, we're kind of jumping around here a little bit, but getting back to the EI and the personal effect, AI, the danger of people not being able to critically think any longer, that totally relying on AI to any little problem, any thing that comes up, any barriers to put it through AI and take that as okay, I need to do what AI says. Well, what's your thoughts on that? Not being able to critically think anymore.
So this one obviously a lot of these other things are scary. This one is also, I feel like, very scary. This one and the echo chamber one combined are just deadly to the people on a personal level, I think. Because with this, for instance, if you look at what a lot of AI is used for, I saw a statistic, like, I don't know, maybe it was like 20-something% of students say they use AI regularly or something like that. which is, so just think about that, like a student writing a paper or something with AI. At first you might think like, oh, maybe it's a useless paper that is not going to ever benefit them. Why not? But the point of it, even if you're writing on the most useless topic, you're still missing out on training these critical skills, right? So these skills are like doing research, critically analyzing sources and collecting proper sources, actually articulating these through writing, formulating your own thoughts and analysis, all these types of things. Now, if the AI is doing this for you, you're going to be missing out on that valuable training. And the AI, if you're asking AI for, like, I don't know, to answer questions for you or something, the AI is obviously going to be taking away the research part. Also, the if you have the AI giving you, so the AI has
problem solving, that's what kind of jumps in my mind. So problem solving skills, if you just totally relying on AI, then you're not going to be able to solve maybe a simple problem.
Yeah. And then the other thing is the AI is going to have your ideology. This is also back to like almost the echo chamber thing, but it is going to taint your critical thinking if you have the AI peddling to your opinions as well.
Okay, so in our time remaining, let's just talk a little bit. So we've been kind of going over the pitfalls, and I think we both kind of agreed, tell me if I'm wrong, Raph, but that there could be some benefits to AI. Obviously, we're seeing it now. And you kind of had an interesting thought on that as far as kind of a narrow application of AI. Can you want to share that a little bit?
Yeah, so with AI, it does have benefits, right? Like for the medical profession.
Right.
AI can, for instance, I've seen people say, move like a surgical machine with more precision than a human, eliminate human error. It can also do tons of data, like sort through that incredibly quickly.
Data mining.
Yeah, mere seconds, which can be way more efficient than having like a doctor do it. Because at this point, you're saving lives, right? As way more efficient than having to have a doctor spend days combing through all this data. And it can gather data from all across the world in a heartbeat, right? So it will bring together all this knowledge. Also, I've seen things, I think I heard someone bring up an example before of like, put like a little, have AI detect some sort of failures in machinery of like some sort of heavy machinery, maybe there's a power plant or a nuclear power plant or something like that, where it can detect if something's wrong. Things like that. Also, in terms, I've heard people argue that AI could help us solve like environmental crises by like looking at data, looking at trends, figuring out, providing solutions.
Right.
So there is some potential for AI. I haven't looked too deeply into like what it could actually do to help the environment. But while it is bad for the environment, it could also potentially provide solutions. Although me personally, I think that a lot, like for things like that, I believe we probably already have the solutions for fixing a lot of the environmental problems, so we don't need AI to come up with new ones. We just kind of don't use them.
Gotta just implement what we already know, right?
Yeah, which also could be a whole nother episode to itself.
Sure. So to try kind of finish up here, we talked a little bit about like what's the end game with AI. Like, so you have individual companies, countries, they're all racing to make it better, make it faster, make it better, make it faster. That's the whole thing. So, and we talked about the negatives and some of the positives, but the bottom line is the cat is out of the bag.
Yeah.
Do you guys still use that term in your
I've heard
your
it.
generation, cat out of the bag? I wonder where that came from. Did a cat get stuck in a bag? Or
no idea.
Yeah, I don't either. So, but we're not going to ask AI, are we? We'll just do research on our own.
We'll do a Google search or something. Classic.
We could let everybody know on next podcast, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Let the cat out of the bag. Well, maybe that doesn't apply here because as I'm thinking anyway, so, but, so like, what's the end game we start thinking? So if you're all thrilled about AI or people that are, and everybody starts using it and it's speeding things up. And it's even, we didn't even touch on the jobs. And I know, like in any kind of industrial revolution back then, and any times in our history that jobs shift. Some people may lose jobs in a certain sector and others gain them in another. But what is the end game as more and more things, AI is taking over more and more aspects of our lives? And just think of it 10, 20, 30 years ago, we were talking, it's like, so what's the end game of everybody? That AI's doing just about everything and we're just sitting around staring out the window? Any thoughts on that? Like, what's the end game here?
Well, so there's a few different paths it could take. So you did bring up the Industrial Revolution, which I think is an interesting analogy, right? Because if you look at the Industrial Revolution, when it first had industrialization, it was highly unregulated. You had people children working in mines, all this type of stuff, right? Terrible conditions. But as time went on, more regulations, things get better. Now, they're still not perfect, but they improved. This is my hope for what happens with AI, is that it's regulated and it's confined to certain parts of industry, like the medical profession, things like this. This is my hope of what's going to happen. Now, the problem is you need people who know what they're talking about and who are intelligent and principled and all this stuff, who actually can execute this. Now, whether or not we have that is a whole different story. Right. Look at most of the governments of the world, and you'll see a terrible leader or someone who's corrupt or someone who doesn't know what they're doing, right?
Right, and I feel like the race is on, but nobody's thinking of the ramifications of what they're doing.
It's like an arms race
fastest. Almost. Yeah. They want to be the fastest, the most influential, or whatever. And it's just, so again, that's the question. And I think, just to wrap it up, and I think the bottom line is everybody, it's out there. Everybody's going to have to make a choice, right?
Yeah.
Like, choose to use it and to make it just, if you choose that. You heard some of the negatives, that it's going to be, so much of the aspect of your life, or you choose, well, wait a minute, I'm not going to let it do that. I'm still going to be able to critically think and solve problems and do research. So any final thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that. You do kind of have to decide where you're at a crossroads here,
right?
Whether or not you want to support and use AI, or whether or not you want to stick to a more traditional path, right? And I think the people who stick to the traditional path, well, in the short term, maybe the people with AI are going to be a little bit faster at churning out their paper or whatever. In the long term, the people who stick to the traditional path are going to be far better off, because they're going to know how to actually do things. They're going to know how to do the research. They're going to know how to critically think. And also, I would also just like to say, this is not like the deepest dive of all time. It's more of a short overview, right? So also, anyone listening should probably do their own research as well, look more into it.
Very good, very good. That's very good. Yep, do your own research, see what you come up with, and at some point, we'll just try to find a way to communicate with people listening to this. But for now, well, thanks, Grandson Raphael.
Thanks, Grandpa Diesel.
Yeah, you're welcome. And so we thank everyone who listened to our first podcast, and hope to you stick with us in the coming weeks and months. And don't forget, God loves you.